What's up, champions? This is Arian Tyson, the Dark Knight from St. Louis, Missouri, represents Slick Town to the fullest, and I'm just enjoying this another hot day here in the STL. I have actually had a very good day, and I was just compelled to shoot this video as I head home because it was amazing. I asked a question on Facebook, and for those of you who don't know, today is the birthday of, it's not even arguably, I mean, he simply is the greatest of all time. I mean, when it comes to music, when it comes to the stage, when it comes to performance, I mean, he is just simply the measuring stick. I mean, there are musicians, there are artists, and then there's Michael Jackson. So, I mean, he's a trendsetter, he's the trailblazer, he is the greatest of all time. It's just what it is, and that fact is just undisputed. But I asked a question on Facebook today because I've been listening to pretty much his whole catalog, from his days with the Jackson 5 to This Is It, and pretty much every banger in between. And I asked a question on Facebook, and it's just amazing how people don't seem to know how to follow instructions. And I asked the question. I asked my friends on Facebook to give me their top 3 favorite Michael Jackson songs and why. And instantly the complaining began. And it was like, I know it's a hard question. I know, because I had to think about it myself. Nevertheless, I could actually come up with a top 3 and why. Because for many of us, Michael Jackson, whether it was him, being the lead singer of the Jackson 5 or his unprecedented solo career, he pretty much wrote the soundtrack for many of our lives. He wasn't one of these musicians who was just stuck in one genre. He had music that transcends genres, whether it's pop, whether it's R&B, whether it's he even had a little hip hop flavor in some of his songs, whether it was rock. It didn't matter. He even had soul in his music. So the thing is, and he wasn't afraid to touch on controversial topics, which is why people often hated him, but they loved him as well. And so it's amazing how people struggle answering this question. They struggle with it. And so I didn't want to give my top 3 until I had 5 people responded. And like an hour or so went by, and I noticed that the people that had initially responded kept adding songs. And so what I did was I teased them by giving them on my list songs 6 through 4. And one of my teammates, who's a good friend of mine, like a sister to me, she told me that you gave me a hard time about coming up with my 3, and now you're gonna tease us with 4, 5, and 6. Why can't you just give us your 3? I say, yeah, I'll tease you about it. I did that because I can, and I did, and I'm unapologetic about it. People need to learn how to follow instructions, and the reason that I'm laughing at it is because so many times in life we go through things where we try to reinvent the wheel, and it's just amazing how we overlook the small things to go after the big score. And that's something that I've struggled with. I'm guilty of it myself. And anyone that knows me on a personal level knows that I can attest to the fact that I struggle when it comes to things that would seem to be quite easy, because I'm so busy focusing on getting the hard stuff out of the way and making the hard stuff look easy, but I overlook the easy. So, needless to say, I finally got 5 answers, and and I guess they got tired of being in suspense about what my 3 were. So I'm shooting this video basically to tell you what my top 3 all-time Michael Jackson songs are and why. Number 3 on my list, I will say this: number 3 and 2 come from the same album, and number 3 and 2 are actually my favorite album. Now I know for most, Thriller is it's the quintessential album, and I know that, and it is the greatest album ever made. I mean, the numbers don't lie, so I respect that. However, I have said on a previous video that I've done about Michael Jackson back in June that I needed more than 9 songs. So out of his albums, Thriller is number 2 on my list. Number 1, I said I needed at least 10 songs. So my favorite Michael Jackson album is where songs 2 and 3 come from, which is Bad. Number 3 is Smooth Criminal. I love Smooth Criminal because of the video itself, the infamous lean that he does. I'm a fan of just that era of culture, where, you had the kind of the Al Capone-esque type feel, with the Tommy guns and, the gangster mentality. I'm a fan of that era, of culture. And I just personally thought that Michael was just GQ smooth in his suit and with the matching hat. I mean, that's just, that was straight gangster to me. And just everything about that song, the concept of the song and everything, it was absolutely phenomenal. And a lot of people, have that in their top 3. That's one of their favorite songs. Number 2 was for a long time number 1 on my list, which was Leave Me Alone. Leave Me Alone was really the first video that I saw where Michael Jackson really talked about, he really showed his human side. He really showed that, there is a price to pay when it comes to being famous. There is a price to pay when it comes to wanting and going after and achieving success. And with his success came a lot of scrutiny, it came a lot of rumors, it came a lot of tabloids and all this other stuff. And he made a video that was pretty much ahead of its time back then, where, he simply just said, leave him alone. And when he died, I often think about something that Reverend Al Sharpton said during his during the memorial service, where he said, maybe now people can leave you alone. Well, Michael Jackson's been gone 4 years, just over 4 years, and quite frankly, we still can't leave him alone because he's the greatest of all time. It is what it is. And number 1, my favorite Michael Jackson song of all time is Scream. It's number one for several reasons. Number one, it picked up right where Leave Me Alone left off, in my opinion. And when you have told people how you felt, and they just act like, oh, well, you can handle it, you good, you just, you can take it, it ain't bothering you. Everybody has their breaking point. And Scream was Michael Jackson's breaking point. I mean, the first thing that he said after you hear the musical intro is you hear him screaming, saying, ah! And that's just how you feel, because I can relate to that. I can understand how he felt, when you go through stuff and people just do stuff to you that just literally make you want to scream. Number two, I love Janet Jackson. I have always loved Janet Jackson. And being that was the first and only video where they collabed, it was groundbreaking, so, and I think he knew that it was going to be a hit, because every time Janet, did one of her lines, you heard Michael Jackson in the background saying, oh! You heard him saying it. And he knew what time it was. He knew that this was going to be the song that really addressed the critics, really answered the critics. And it was cool because both of them were superstars in their own right, and they weren't afraid to push the envelope. And then number three, the video itself. I still have not seen a video to this day that even comes close to the quality of Scream. And the video from Scream was released in 1995. It's almost 20 years later, and I have yet to see a video after that even comes close to that. Whether it's the digital quality, whether it's the Japanese animation, whether it was and I like the fact that it was very little color in the video, and that's what just amazed me about that video, and to me, that right there, that makes that song timeless. So many of Michael Jackson's songs are timeless. I mean, this man had songs that transcends 5 decades, and he only lived to be 50 years old. So you can say what you want about him, but the fact of the matter is, he is, was, and forever will be the undisputed king of pop. Now, I've given you my list, and I would love to know what your list is, what your top 3 is, and why. So feel free to hit me up. Feel free to connect with me, or just leave your comments below this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.